I am delighted to introduce Peter Barbey, one of Berks County's most influential civic leaders, as today's commencement speaker. Peter D. Barbey was appointed President and Chief Executive Officer of the Reading Eagle Company in August 2011. The Reading Eagle Company publishes the Reading Eagle newspaper and operates WEEU 830 AM radio station, ReadingEagle.com, Reading Eagle Internet Services, and Reading Eagle Press, a commercial printing facility. Barbey, who served on the Reading Eagle Company's board of directors from 2000 until his appointment as CEO in 2011, is also the great-grandson of Jesse Hawley and Kate Ritter. Hawley and Ritter founded and published the first Reading Eagle in 1868 out of the Eagle Bookstore located on Penn Street in Reading. Barbey's prior work experience was in banking, retail and commercial, real estate, marketing, and strategic planning. He owned Hool Books, which received numerous awards in Arizona, and served on several community boards in the Phoenix area, including as vice chairman of the Arizona Council for the Humanities. Currently, Peter Barbey serves on the board of directors of the Greater Reading Chamber of Commerce and the Pennsylvania Newspaper Association Foundation. He received a Bachelor of Arts degree from the University of Arizona and a Master of Business Administration degree from Arizona State University. Peter, thank you for your commitment to a greater, stronger, and healthier community, for keeping us informed on important issues of the day, and for sharing yourself with our graduates today. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Peter Barbey.
Welcome, and congratulations to the graduating class, your families, and your friends attending here today. I also want to thank President McMillan, the Albright Board of Trustees, and the faculty of Albright College for the honor of allowing me to address this particular 2013 graduating class. For many of us, myself included, graduation was the culmination of what might best be described as a rite of passage, as much as a pursuit of higher education. While my own school experience was not exactly background material for yet another college student exploitation comedy, let's just say that I spent a fair amount of time in those years at the university I attended in sun-drenched southern Arizona in the late 70s, merely growing up, as much as I did passionately pursuing my goals in higher education. And then, with my hard-won degree almost in hand, I sat in cap and gown, listening to the commencement speaker, wondering what life in fact held for me, without, I now realize, really knowing exactly what I wanted. Honestly, I can't remember what the speaker at that particular graduation ceremony said that day. But I imagine it employed something like the phrase, "as you begin real life." I'm sure he had good advice. I do remember the girl in front of me. She had taped a message on her hat. It said, "Thanks, Dad." All of you are in fact beginning a new chapter in life. And given what you graduates in particular have achieved, I think that if I tried to give you all similar advice, it's likely I would be undershooting the mark you have set here today. After all, you came to Albright knowing in far more certain terms what you wanted out of life. You didn't take this experience for granted. You put day-to-day life on hold week after week to win a degree that you wanted and needed to fulfill a goal that you set. If you think about it, you have chosen to actually reinvent yourselves. And reinvention, as you so well now know, is no small thing to achieve. Reinvention is something that I know something about. In fact, as a CEO of a media company built around a newspaper, it's very much my job responsibility in these times. It's not news that the newspaper industry is being redefined by access to news on the internet. Circulation is not what it once was. Truly, though, this trend did not begin with the internet. The peak of newspaper readership was actually in the early 80s. Back then, the main competition in news was not at all from the internet. CNN was founded in 1982. MTV was launched in 1981. ESPN in 1979. The real competition for print was from 24-hour cable TV news channels and entertainment channels. Before that, if you remember, you watched the nightly news on broadcast television. It was very similar to what you find in the newspaper at your home. In fact, the nightly news had fewer stories and did not dig as deeply. If you wanted to be better informed, you used to go to your newspaper or a magazine for more detail. By the 1990s, there were multiple news channels and specialty channels that covered national news and politics, sports, and entertainment. The internet, of course, has expanded on those offerings. Now, if you're interested in following competitive horseshoe matches, native Hawaiian politics, or sitar music, somebody has a website for you with possibly more detail than you want to know. And the barriers to entry are down. Anyone can be a news reporter, or a pundit, or an expert on any issue or topic for just the small price it takes to set up a web page or a blog. So where does that leave newspapers in the media mix? Have we been out-reported by cable TV? Will the remainder of our content be outsourced to the web? That depends. It depends on what kind of newspaper you are and are willing to become. Recently, it's been in the news that Warren Buffett, the most successful stock picker in history, has reversed his position on the future of newspapers and is now buying more papers to add to the ones he already owns. That's interesting. In fact, he has discovered something that we at the Reading Eagle discovered years ago. In many communities, there is still a need and relevancy for newspapers who cover local news. The profile of this type of community is that it's small enough that it still reads the obituary page, but large enough that it still has enough going on that it takes a real newsroom to cover it all. Gratefully, that's very much a description of Berks County. Somehow, we picked a region that still needs its own newsroom. But just because a newspaper like the Reading Eagle exists in a close-knit community is not enough. Newspapers can survive only if they fully accept the responsibilities that come with the role that we have. This means that we have to retain the commitment and investment to our newsroom in order to produce stories that matter to our readers and matter to the community, all of the community. Not just at the people we think that are like us or that we may think agree with us. And our news reporting has to have quality and depth. It's not an easy thing to achieve. The good news is that following this strategy will give us, or any newspaper for that matter, the potential for more new material that we can put in an edition on any given day. We have rediscovered that if you keep people's interests in mind, they will read what you have to say. But newspapers no longer have a monopoly on content. It's no longer the case where, as in a small medieval village with only one church, we are perceived as having an exclusive right and ability to define what is right and necessary for people to know and think about, and in what spirit and reverence it should be received. We will be disrespected as much as respected if we act as if that is true anymore, if it ever really was. But I truly believe that if your content is worth spending time with and serves a real purpose in someone's life, if only to amuse, it is worth paying for, collaborating with, or advertising in. This principle applies to websites, television news, and radio shows as well as print. Each has the same challenge. We have tried to reinvent ourselves with this in mind. Often it is best to imitate the other successful strategies. Given cable TV's success with interest-specific channels, we have introduced targeted publications, such as our new Berks Country weekly insert dedicated to rural Berks County. Our Business Weekly insert covers the business scene in greater depth than any similar publication in a newspaper in Pennsylvania. Our new investigative team covers topics like poverty, land preservation, and crime in greater detail than we ever have. All this is exclusively local and directly relevant to our readers' lives, careers, and their lifestyles. It's been quite successful so far. All three examples I've given you have won regional or national awards in the past year, and overall, our circulation decline has begun to abate. Reinvention is hard work. It never ends, nor should it. We're currently working on what will be a brand new next-generation web page, which will be optimized to work more fluidly with mobile devices. We have been working on that effort for over a year and hope that we will be able to go public in a few months. Reinvention takes time, but it is worth the investment. Digital news delivery is a firm fixture in news media. It will be even more so at the Reading Eagle. The possibilities in digital are endless, even as they are in print. This is what I believe about the news media industry. People will consume media the way it suits them at whatever point in life they find themselves. It's not about print versus digital versus radio versus TV. It was predicted that television would kill radio. It didn't. The future of media is actually a print and digital and radio and TV proposition. From our own marketing studies, it seems that at age 24, one may choose to pick up national news stories on TV, traffic and crime news on one's iPhone, and peruse the weekend entertainment options in our paper's weekend supplement. At 32, with a child at school, one may decide it's time to subscribe to the paper for the school and community news and the advertising inserts. But given no time to read before work, one may check the daily stories at work on our website. You should see the bump in our page views around 9 o'clock through lunch. Who's working? At 65, you may have time to read the paper every day. I hope I do. In depth, and have the time to respond to our editorials on our Facebook page. I believe that a news media company like the Reading Eagle has a bright future, as long as it keeps a commitment to constant reinvention. In my own life, I've been called on to reinvent myself as well, more than once. Since going back to school for a master's in business, I've worked in 3 other fields. I worked in banking, book selling, and commercial real estate. Each transition demanded a degree of reinvention. And upon reflection, some of the same principles that underlie our reinvention efforts at the Reading Eagle applied to me as well. Pick a place to work that really needs you. You all have special skills, drive, and a special kind of personality. You've proved that by being here today. Better yet, pick an area that needs to reinvent itself. You have special skills in that area. Don't be afraid to imitate something you admire in someone else, even if he or she is your rival. Reinvention is tough enough without trying to be original. Keep others' interests in mind, always. Avoid living in your own reality. People want to work with people that have solutions and empathy for their struggles, not necessarily our own or the ones we care about. Given how self-focused modern life has become, I think you'll find that if you concentrate on putting others first, you won't have much competition from others who don't. Above all, keep committed to constant reinvention. Remember that you have conclusively proved that you are good at that. Most of us will, in fact, be called to reinvent ourselves more than once. Not everyone can do it even once. You have. So I'm going to ask you to consider something else here today. Consider helping others reinvent themselves. This can take many forms: family, work, community. People need people like you. Communities need people like you. This place, Reading, Berks County, has in fact had to reinvent itself many times. Each time, like a fighter punching above its weight class, this small city has in the end succeeded beyond others. Long ago, this community was built on a railroad monopoly that was once the most profitable company in the world. That monopoly was broken up by Washington, D.C. in the early 20th century. Reading then repurposed its skills and reinvented itself as a center of the textile industry in America, birthing Berkshire Knitting Mills, the world's largest for a time, and VF Corporation, now the world's largest apparel conglomerate. Reading is now a center of electric battery production, food production, medical instruments, healthcare, and many, many startup companies. But with the Great Recession and the trend to move production offshore or to states with liberal labor laws or highly skilled labor, we are at the point of needing reinvention again. So is it over? Have we been outmaneuvered by our competition? Will everything then be outsourced to the last brick and stick to Alabama or China? Have we lost our hold on destiny? I think not. I think what Reading will be depends on what type of community we want to be together. We know that this is a very close-knit community that cares about itself. So think about what you can do to help us reinvent ourselves yet one more time. While I hope that some of you will have careers and perhaps start businesses that will help define the next boom cycle in Reading's history, I hope even more that each of you will help even one person that you already know or someone who crosses your path to invent their own life here in this place. Some of you may be planning to work and live somewhere else. Be a reinventor there as well. But if you do leave, I want to warn you, there is a better than even chance that you'll come back. I can't tell you how many people tell me that they have lived here, left for the big city or bright lights, and in the end realized that there is something fundamentally good and normal about this community. There's even a term for them, Burke's boomerangs. So if you leave here, I hope you're one of the boomerangs that come back. We need you, all of you. Congratulations to each of you. You have worked hard to achieve this important goal in your life, and you have much to be proud of. And congratulations to your family and your friends who have supported and encouraged you. You have shown exceptional perseverance. Thank you for what you have done here, and the very best to you all.